most of you produced a design document and it contained or you put together a PowerPoint presentation that explained what your project was going to do. Most of you are now regretting those first two items by the scale that you had was like this, the time scale you had was like this, the skill level that you had was like this, and then the combination of those three factors mean you think, oh no, I'm not staying in the So when we're assessing how well a project has gone, we look at what we set out to do, what we set out to accomplish, and we look at then what we actually accomplished, and we see how we actually dealt with the outcomes from our project and see if it actually works out the way we expected it to. Now, you can still pass and get all the marks and things that you actually need to do without actually having a project which sets out and does exactly what you expected. As long as you've made a good attempt and you've got an example of some work that you've actually done, that's good enough to be able to show, well, this is what I did. It does do this, this, and this. It just doesn't do this, and this is why. Okay, and that's what we're looking at with project outcomes. So, how do we start with this? We're going to start with design versus reality. Okay, I'm then going to move on to valuation of specification. That's what we did with the spec. No maintenance releases. And then finally the next steps. Okay? So, what is meant first of all with design versus reality? Start with, this is what I wanted to achieve. So this is what I was hoping to create. This is how long I have left. And this is where I'm up to. Finished state can I get to? You are probably already at the stage now where you know what you've done so far, if anything. You know how long you've got left, a couple of weeks, literally, to get the rest of the project finished. And although this is what you wanted to achieve, you're going to have to change your guidelines and think, well, actually, if I manage to do these items, I can actually produce something that is finished in inverted commas. It doesn't do everything I set out to do, but it does do something, and it does it to a certain point, and that's good enough for me at the moment. And then I can look at doing a series of future releases to get that whole item completely finished if I find I've got the time. So I'm going to finish it off to a certain extent for the purpose of the course and for the purpose of what I want to handle as a marked item. Once I've done that, I can then spend the time actually finishing it off if I've got time to spare after writing it all up and doing the rest of the things I need to do. I'm going to show you a quick example of this. Right, you've all seen my little application bar that sits on the bottom corner and has been send windows from one computer to another. So there's a whole load of things I want to actually finish off on it, but I know that I need to get a version sort of out there and working. Let me just change the font size so you guys can see it a bit easier. So this is what I've decided to make as my feature list for the very first released version. So it isn't a finalised list. I want to do a lot more than this, but all of that items are things that I know where I'm up to with things. I know how many of those things I've already done. I know how many items I still need to finish off and what I need to do. And I'm going to put down, this is what I'm going to definitively say, right, once I've done this, this will be the first release that I then send out. Once it's done, dusted. It doesn't mean it's finished. I'm going to still produce more and more on it that I'm going to get closer to. And I'm actually, after I've written all this out and said this is going to be the first release, I'm going to actually state what I want as the next release, the next release, the next release. So I know what still needs to go in to finish the project off. I also know there's going to be a load of issues with this version before I've even finished it. And I know what those issues are going to be. There's going to be nothing there which stops the program from completely working. It might mean that it doesn't work as well as I want it to. So I'm going to note all those down so that when it comes to doing the next stage, I can say, well, actually, I've already identified user issues and I've already identified how I'm going to sort those issues out. Does that all make sense to everybody? So even if you're not going to get the project finished, you get it to a state that is complete enough to be able to send someone and say, this is my project, but not complete enough maybe to do exactly what you hope to do. And any issues that you've currently got, you can actually specify and say, these are the issues that I've got and this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do to fix it. Okay? So this was the original design I had, but the reality of the situation is I'm only going to produce this. You will not be alone in this being the issue. Have I shown you guys the Longhorn video?
Yes, you did.
You weren't paying attention. Have you ever seen the Longhorn video? I'll show you once more. Because I have to turn the sound off. It's not that one. I think, is it this one? I'm going to turn the sound off because it's this one. It just plays music. There's no actual sound. This was Microsoft's concept for what later became Vista. Its code name was Longhorn. What was that?
Who was that? Who did it?
I don't know who it was, but what was it?
It was Johnny Knuckles.
No. Most of you won't remember the literally cues out the door for Windows 95. You know, some of these things were absolutely 100% correct. They were absolutely mad for Windows 95. It was so different. And they needed to do something better than XP. I mean, Windows 2000. I've got to say, I was there. Well, I wasn't there, but I was watching this live when I was at Microsoft. One of the great parts I've ever seen on a demonstration, they were showing how redundant their server systems could be on Windows 2000. And they had two banks of servers connected together. One's a backup, one's a main. And they had all the wires set. And this guy comes on stage with a fire axe and just cuts all the wires with the fire axe to freeze, and it just moved seamlessly from one to the other. It's very, very cool. And Jean-Luc Picard was there, which is even more important. that was the server rack. Windows XP, again, that latest version of Windows is doing now. I saw this as well. I give every employee was given a free copy of Windows XP on launch day. And I actually went to Hanley's to demonstrate it to the general public. Got a free digital camera, it's great. But this was going to be the most amazing version of Windows ever made. And this is what the design showed. So that was the login, that was the sidebar. There's no such thing as files anymore, everything was database driven, you could just find things very easily. Your phone was connected to your PC, which doesn't exist anyway. Everything was animated and cool, and even just everything was just the most amazing thing you've ever seen ever. You could use it on a TV system, so that's what that was that you saw there. We did automatic albums, etc. That was everything coming off a digital camera, and it would literally fly, you'd watch it fly onto the computer. As I say, I had the privilege of actually playing with this, the real one. The only disadvantage of it at the time, most people had 32 meg or so of memory on their computers, and this required a whole gig, and had no swap file. And everyone was like, no, you can't do this. But a lot of these ideas are just still, even to this day, would be brilliant to put in the systems, I think. However, it crashed and burned and became Vista. Because of security issues generally that meant that they had to fix security issues rather than work on the new product. Plus, there was a lot of infighting in Microsoft at the time. The start menu, being able to log on and log off on Vista took someone 18 months to produce what the list of options would be. That was his entire job for 18 months, simply because of the problems. Should have come October 2003, didn't turn up till 2007. Was it 2006? It was a bit of a nightmare, really. But anyway, so if you think it is a problem that you are going to have to change your reality of what you can create based on what you design, it is not. It is what we all have to do in the software industry generally, because we all promise the universe and then end up with rubbish. I think I've even put on Slack recently about the project specification for Swing, what the customer wants, what they end up getting, etc. There's a whole list of all different things, what the salesperson promises.
We are all Peter warning you right now.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway.
That's a reference for you guys.
So design versus reality is not a problem to have a different reality of what you're going to end up with based on what you actually started with. So with that in mind, how do we evaluate the specification? Now, at the end of the design document, or at the end of the analysis section, in fact, you produce a specification of what your program is going to do. The way you evaluate specifications, you have the items. So it might be, first of all, simple table, the start ones, items met. And you say what the specification item was. The program will not crash on startup. And then whatever it is, you say how it's been met in your code. No use of that. And you go through your entire specification list, and all the items that you've met, you put together in a single table. Nice and easy that way. Because it just shows, I know these are my specification items, and I know I met these. What about the items that you don't know? You might have, in a table, it would be a bit throwing enough room to actually give reasons why each one's not there. So you might just say something like C point A, B, C, D. And underneath the table, you just then have point A, X not met, wherever it is. And then you describe why that was not met. This specification was not met because of X, Y, and Z. Either it was much more complicated than I first initially thought. I tried this, that, and the other, it didn't work. And if you've got any work that's related to that specification item but not finished, so it shows that you've actually done and tried some things, you might say things like C prototype, or C appendices X for the code that does X, Y, and Z. So it shows that you've actually made an attempt at some of these things, but at the moment, unfortunately, they can't go into the final product. Does that make sense? So in one simple set of documentation, you can say, well, this was my initial project, but unfortunately, these items weren't met. Yeah, all okay? So what that then leads on to is maintenance releases. And this is what you just saw in my little document that was on my screen. We start with everything that is going to be included in the first version that you are sending out there, and a list of known issues. Okay? Then you can go on to the next version. Which will be completed by time allows. So you then start by setting out your story and saying, well, this is what I would do if I've got a bit more time. and then say in here, what's known issues in 1, then in version 1 you're going to fix. And if you know how, write this down. Okay, I'll show you an example of, I know, an issue in my program that I'm going to have to fix. If I open, I need to turn that off so I can see. If I open a web browser, it opens a web page. If I go to, say, the register, can you see that little shudder every time I change the size of the screen? That shudder, I know what causes that. It's because I try and create a window of a certain size, and I'm trying to guess how big my window actually is. So it isn't quite the right size, and now I tell it to fill the screen. And that little change is that shudder. So I know to fix it, all I've got to do is actually find out exactly how big my client size is, and therefore have the same size when it's full screen. Or when it is full screen, change the size so that next time it's not full screen, it's still the same size as it was before, and again it gets rid of the shudder. So I know what's wrong with it, I just haven't got around to fixing it. And to be honest, there's more important things to fix than there are things like that. And that's the way it should be in a lot of your programs. You know, there are going to be important things you need to get working in version 1, and there's going to be less important ones you think, well, I haven't got time to fix this now, I'll push that back to a later release, a later maintenance release. Okay, so any known issues you're going to fix, and you know how you're going to fix it, put it in, because it will help remind you when you get to that point how you're going to make those fixes. Anything else that you want to, other features that you need to add? I don't mean new features necessarily that you haven't mentioned before. I'm talking about features in the specification that you've not already got in version 1. You say, well, these were features in my specification that I haven't managed to get into version 1. Well, I'm going to add this one. And I'm not suggesting that version 2 should suddenly be your entire project. Be realistic and think, well, what can I just do incrementally to my next release? What can I do for the release after that? What can I do for the release after that? And think about how many extra releases you could do to get to pretty much your entire specification. Now there's something else which comes out with this as well. While developing the project, you may find that your specification didn't actually match the reality of the sort of things that you were doing. Therefore, there are actually changes that you might have wanted to make to the specification. Okay? And that comes about either in the evaluating specification stage. To be fair, you can put it in there if you want and say, while developing the product, I did not include this item in the specification, but it turned out it was unnecessary. Or while developing the project, I realised I needed to add this specification item in as well, because actually this was important too. Or they can start forming your next steps. Your next steps are looking at, say, a version 2 product. And this is part of the whole iterative process that we go through in software development. No piece of software is ever finished. You know, Microsoft Word updates every 3 weeks at the moment because of a new feature that they need to add. Like, you know, now is the integration into LinkedIn because Microsoft spent over £1 billion on LinkedIn. Now they need to find a way of actually getting some money out of it. To be fair, LinkedIn actually still makes more money than the entire Xbox part of their business. Next steps then are saying, right, these are new specification items that in the future I would like to add, and these are the reasons why I'd like to add this, and therefore should be considered as part of the analysis for version 2. And that's all you're putting together in the next steps. Okay? So the project outcomes, once you take all this as a whole, allow you to come up with a final report answering the first question, was the project a success? Most people say, no, it's failed miserably, didn't do anything, etc., etc. But try and be more granular and positive, so while the overall project didn't do exactly as I set out, these are the things it does do. Does this, does this, does this, does this. These are the sorts of things I've learned. These are the new skills I've developed while building this project. These are the things that I would ultimately do differently in the future. These are the things that I would do the same if I was given the time again to do. Those sorts of ideas. And it's not going to be a long report. We're not talking pages and pages of analysis on where everything went wrong and why you should sack the project manager, which also happens to be myself, etc., for the project. It's really just about understanding to show that you understand where things went wrong in the project and how you can actually make those changes in the future. And also what went well with the project and what you've learned that you actually then take forward to other things. For example, you might have learned Ajax is now such a useful technology that I'd like to utilise this in other future projects. Or I've even got some previous projects that from what I've learned now with this project, I'm going to go back and retrospectively look at those and create new versions of those products because of what I've learned with this one. So it's not just about learning things to go forward, it could be learning things that you've learned that you can go back with as well. Does that all make sense? Yeah. So let's frame this with the assignments that you've currently got. Let's start by looking at the assignment brief for the implementation, and I'll then also look at the assignment brief for the evaluation. So the two different stages. Okay. In the implementation of your project, you should have a logbook of what work you've done and when you've accomplished it. I'll just keep one of these and put it at the end of your design document. You have a section in your specification in your, if we load up the project template, where have I got a project template? Where did I store the template? Project reports document template. Okay, in your template, at the very end, you have a project diary. And the project diary had a date, what we did, what we discussed, who the participants were, what the purpose of that was, outcomes, tasks and actions added to the project. It didn't have to be necessarily a meeting, it could just be what you did on a particular day. So a certain date, this is what I was planning to do, this is what I accomplished. Okay? It's a way of being able to show that you've done some work and you've done it over time. And it gives you a better idea of exactly what you have actually done. You're asked to do weekly or fortnightly reviews of your progress against your project plan. You've all got a Gantt chart or a Trello document or something like that, and it says, you know, how close did you keep to that idea? And it should be that any changes that there were, updates the plan accordingly without overwriting the original one. So show the differences, and so you can have a summary that you attach to this and say, well, this is my original timescales, this was the actual timescales, and you can see how long extras this took, that took, etc. It also says they're discussing any problems and difficulties that you have and talk about the processes you went to overcome these. So a summary, almost looking at what we've just discussed, of saying what you found difficult and what ended up becoming an issue first of all, but these are ultimately things that you solved, etc., and sorted out to come up with your final project. You all know you need to have graphics in your project, so you must have had graphics. If you didn't have any graphics particularly in your project, that's why we created the happy scene, the dark scene from a standard photo and did some manipulation, because that actually allows you to do a lot of the different items there on that criteria. But I'll go through with anyone else that's got any graphics related on how to make sure that that's you've got that through to the pass criteria at least. The actual web application itself is then basically what you get the criteria for from that, and the database that sits behind that application is what completes task 4.
and then moving on to the analysis and evaluation, reviewing and testing of your item. You've all done testing now. You did testing last year. You've all got a test bed. You know how to test things by checking it with data that's correct, wrong, boundary data. In testing the database system, you test your SQL, prove your SQL works, and prove that when you type in something ridiculous, the SQL doesn't cause the database to crash. It says there, create documentation to support the implementation and testing of a relational database system. That is that you should have your all your data dictionary that we talked about before, so it shows all your tables and what the types of each record are, or each field are, sorry. And then specify all your SQL that you've used, so then how you've utilised that against the database table. That allows someone to then test it to make sure it works correctly. Explain how verification and validation have been addressed wherever possible. So if you've got any login system, how do you make sure they've typed in the correct email address? On anything that's going into your database, how do you validate that information first? I.e., do you force them to only be able to type it into a number box? Do you check that it's a correct number beforehand? Do you do SQL injection attack detection before sending any strings through? The difficult one there is the control mechanisms. I'm going to go over that in a bit more of a different session next week, next Monday. So remind me on that one. And then critical reflection to evaluate your own work and justify your conclusions. You get a distinction criteria by doing everything that we just discussed and said, you know, what went right, what went wrong, what could I personally do differently in the future to make this better. Task 2 is testing the actual application itself. Again, you've got a test bed to show that you've tested all different functions, you've tested all different bits of the interface, etc. And it's basically just putting all that together into a single report and showing those unit tests, etc. A report on the graphics, so evaluating your own graphics use. And what we will do in a few weeks' time when you've all finished your projects is you will actually start looking at each other's graphics and evaluate how well those graphics have been put together as well. You'll then see that Task 4 is pulling together an entire report. It covers a lot of the project evaluation, and this is what I'm... this was actually built on a file search system. I'm going to rewrite this just to make sure it's for part of your item. But you can certainly use these different items. Okay. With a project, we look at selection. Did you select the right final product for you, right final project for you to do? Monitoring. Did you keep track of the development and make sure it was heading in the right direction? Did you make some changes that meant that everything had to change, etc., to keep it on track? Justifying. Is it a useful project? Is it something people will actually use and play with? Validating. Were the correct decisions actually made all the way through the project? If you can validate your justifications, etc. Improving. What improvements you can make? And research. Does it actually provide a springboard into a new way of thinking? Does your project make you think, well, actually, we should do things in a slightly different way? Now, I'm going to use another example here of what happens when good project management occurs. Okay? It's a product that some people have heard of, because hopefully you'll use it. Slack. How many of you know the history of how Slack began? Well, Slack was created by a gaming company, because you can tell that Slack's obviously a game. Yeah. And all that happened was they were building this game, which is rubbish, by the way. I didn't really say. And while they were building this game, they started realising that different people working in different teams all across the country. So what they really needed was some sort of way of communicating easily what was going on in the game making. Now, originally they set up like emails and they said, right, tell you what, everyone have a different title for a subject for your emails, it's a certain subject, so it drops into the correct email box. And then realised, well, this is really silly because, you know, we're doing something like this, we can do something in real time, like a real time chat. So if we only have like, instead of like a chat room, maybe have a series of chat rooms all about a specific subject, and
And so when you're talking about subject A, you go in that chat room, subject B, that one. And it doesn't matter which team you're in as such, you can actually look at what's going on in the other areas around you, and you can all sort of work together, and you can make suggestions outside of your own work. And this tool is really, really useful for them. And someone in management was looking at this tool and said, why are we not monetizing this? We've spent a lot of internal time and resources building a product which actually is incredibly useful for us and we're using every single day. I'm sure other people would. So they went to a couple of companies and said, would you like to try out a new way of trying to talk to your teams and things? It's not that new really, it's just I built on ideas of other things, but it's really flexible, really easy to use. And a couple of companies liked it. So I said, that's it, we'll try and monetize it. And they then realised there was no money whatsoever in the game industry. Why carry on building a game when you're just going to make X amount of it? But actually, they're starting to make more profit from their own internal tool. Why don't we just move everyone across and they did what's called a pivot, and they pivoted the entire company from being a games development company to developing a piece of software which they can use for communication, and that became Slack. And it grew and grew and grew because it's so easy to use, so useful for people, it just became a de facto standard. And a lot of the systems that we use, like Microsoft Teams, are built and designed around what happened with Slack. And they're looking at trying to sit in their context.
So Discord
Discord existed actually before Slack, and it was a completely different type of system.
Okay, because the way I look at it, the children are almost identical.
Yeah, they are now. They weren't when Discord was first launched, it was just basically a type of chat room. And then they realised all this idea had channels and things like that, audio calls, etc., all came from Slack. Another system that none of you would have heard of because it's only just recently been released and it doesn't really work very well. But as an example of a sort of more small scale project, someone I'm in contact with who was going to come to the college actually at one point to give a talk, wasn't able to because of this whole problem. Was going to release a program for universities, which was basically the idea of it was a kind of all-encompassing social media system that would be like Snapchat combined with Facebook, combined with Twitter, etc. And try and target universities in the same way that that's how Facebook got its first stages going. It was started off just at Harvard University, then moved on to other they're called blue chip universities or something like that, and then it expanded and expanded. But it was so all-encompassing, it was taking a lot of time to develop, and it was actually proving to be really problematic. And the reason actually the main person who did it, a girl called Lucia Jones, while she was going to talk to you actually about sexism in the IT industry, not that kind of product, because she found that every time she went to go and get funding from different venture capitalists and things, the venture capitalists were hitting on her. She's a 19-year-old girl, and the first thing they do is, are you single? Are you doing dinner? Do you want to go out for a day where we can discuss your project? Which, obviously, she was part of this whole movement. She made it to the national press. Anyway, to cut a long story short, they realised that what they'd done to their project was far too big. It just wasn't going to take off. No one's going to start using a different social media group unless they can find something else. So they completely pivoted to another system, which was designed as a sort of local idea of when you're in university, you say, if anyone wants to come around to my area of the whole rest of this night, we're going to watch a film X, Y, and Z, whatever it might be. And then anyone who's in the local vicinity of that university who goes registered to that university, press button and say, well, actually, I'm in this area, I'm not doing much tonight, what's going on in my area? And they give a list of all the different people doing things, like film nights and things like that, clubs and societies, etc. So they can instantly find the club and society or whatever it was, even just a gathering of friends they want to go and do, and they can go and join that. So they completely pivoted and had to change because what they were doing was just too vast for what they were expecting. And they just didn't have the finance, they didn't have the funding, they didn't have the skills and technology to do it, or the numbers. So they found another system that got a little bit of a niche market, and they started pushing that to universities instead. So pivots and changes happen all the time. It's identifying, this isn't working, I need to do something different, that is the big difficulty. And understanding that maybe my original project and concept was just too complex or too different to what I was able to do, and maybe I need to look at it in a slightly different way and take some things I've learned from that, some tools and things that we've come up with while building that project, and think I could actually turn this into something completely different. So,
evaluating a product on a project is something we all have to do in every project we do, especially if you actually work in the real industry. And validating what work you have done, even if it's been a failure, is really important, because then you don't lose your job and someone else does. You then need to look at the different items of the interface code and database system, say, how well all the different sections work together. Can you evaluate those? Is the interface workable? Does it actually do it? Is it easy to use? Is the code easy to maintain? How easy is it to maintain? And the database, is there things that will change in the future? And again, I'm going to slightly change some of these items here to match your own particular projects. But produce a record with the formative techniques you've used to make sure the project continues correctly on track. That is the logs that you've used, the project logs, so the diaries that you've used, the changes to those items. There's two types of feedback that you can end up with, formative and summative. Summative happens at the end, it's a summary of everything you've done. In education, if you like, in teaching, we have formative assessments and summative assessments. A formative assessment is like getting you guys to sit test and see if you get how many you get out of 10 and mark there and then. A summative assessment is doing an exam with 3 hours at the end of the course. So that's really looking at all the formative techniques you've used, those project management techniques as you've gone along to try and keep yourself on track. And then, as we said, present the outcomes to the project, as we talked about just now. You need to include user documentation for how to run your system, how to keep your system going, and remote distinction criteria you get are based on how well this actual report is generated. Okay. Does that all make sense to everybody? Or am I talking out of all this is I should be talking?
The project outcomes that you first spoke about, the 4 different sections, where does that link?
So these the 4, where's the link in this entire report?
So it's in
Yeah, it's in this report. This is all part and parcel of the
Evaluation. So that's that one line in that assignment that says about project outcomes. This is what you're looking at. Okay. So a lot of what I've talked about before that points filter into this, and I'm not talking about rewriting and say in the project outcomes this, that, the other. I'm just hoping that you include all of these different parts as part of that project report. Any questions from anybody? So some of you need to start with projects, others of you need to start getting them finished. But as I say, we've only got a few more weeks for this really. I've given you to the 22nd of August, 22nd of May. No, is that right? It's the 22nd of March.
Yeah.
The actual 22nd of March, isn't it? So it's by really next week. I want the entire project implementation completed. And I know, as I say, Tom, you've done a fantastic job at trying to, pushing things forward, but you may not get to the stage of actually having a system where lots of people can talk. But you have got a login system, you have got the ability to show the pictures that have been loaded up, and you have got the drawing system built in. And you can save those images to the file, can't you, to disk.
Yeah.
So actually you have got a finalised set of things that you can actually show as your finalised project which matches enough of the specification to have a version 1. You guys on the cargo, you have got a database full of cards, you've got a list that you can make up a deck of, you've got an interface where you can have cards that you can switch around.
Yep, and all going well, we should have a login and account creation.
Yeah, so with all that together, that's pretty much a working-ish project. Yes, you can't play the game, but actually, that's not too important because in reality, you play this game as a card game, don't you? So you can actually utilise this as having it on a tablet and actually utilising it as a virtual version of the card game that has all physical cards that you then utilise it, etc. So there's all sorts of different things that you can actually utilise with this. You guys don't know where you guys are up to. Have you actually got anything working yet? You've got a little bit working.
Probably.
James, what have you got working yet?
Not much.
Not
So I need
much.
to get on with it.
You do need to get on with it, yeah. So a day spent not on YouTube might be a not on quizzes on 56 cat facts or anything like that might be useful. Okay. Any other questions? Right. videos there then.